Hello everyone, I am Abhinav, AVP Marketing at NuAIg. On behalf of NuAIg, thank you all for joining us today for this discussion on how AI can enhance care and operational efficiencies. Today, we are joined by my colleague Jyoti, who is AI Program Manager at NuAIg.
Hi everyone.
So today's webinar is part of NuAIg's web series where we share our expertise on how AI is transforming senior care and its impact on resident experience and care delivery. So this is the ninth webinar in the series. Um, at the end of this session, we'll open the floor for Q&A. Feel free to send your questions through the Q&A tab as visible on the screen. And like always, we'll share the webinar recording with all of you in a couple of days. So here is a quick view of how today's discussion is planned. We will quickly introduce NuAIg, then we'll talk about challenges faced by key stakeholders, how digital transformation can empower leadership, caregivers, back office teams, and even residents. We'll also show you real world examples of different aspects of digital transformation, that is, digitization, advanced data analytics, automation, and the most trending buzzword nowadays, Gen AI. So, giving a brief about what we are and what we do. So NuAIg was incorporated 4 years back with a vision to help aging service provider embrace AI and digital transformation in a holistic way. We have been extensively working in aging service provider space, and having worked in a very focused segment, we understand its nuances, challenges faced by different stakeholders, and proven methods to overcome those challenges. In these years of engagement and hours of speaking or engaging to the stakeholders and end users, we have mapped over 130 plus processes across functions and found that which of these are most potent for higher ROIs. So like I said, we have huge client base in aging services, and here are a few of those. So 4 years of experience working with these diverse set of providers in aging services has brought us to the essence of what we are trying to do. Now, this slide talks about our understanding of this domain of these aging services providers. So we understand that there are four key stakeholders on the which are there on the left side, and then we have identified few key challenges that these stakeholders face. For example, leadership is looking for insights of business health across functions. Employees want an environment which is highly efficient, where manual mundane tasks are taken out of their plate. Caregivers want to do caregiving rather than filling the forms. Residents want great experience. Now, to overcome all these challenges, stakeholders are looking for technologies or AI driven interventions, which we have mentioned on the right side. There are different levels of these technologies that can be used depending on maturity of your organization. We understand that every provider is not same. Some have taken great strides and are at higher level of technology adoption. Some of them may not have been at that level. So these are the technology capabilities that can help you, and this is what NuAIg has. We'll talk more about these today in upcoming slides. Looking at this slide and looking at these level of digital transformation solutions, um, for example, maturity of your organization is low, then a simple thing to digitize your physical forms and documents might help. If you have your data digitized, but that is lying in silos in different software systems, then that data can be unified with data warehousing, and then it can be utilized to get those insights through data analytics. If you are further matured, we can optimize process by process automation and automated reporting. And if you have already crossed all these levels, then Gen AI is the ultimate level that where in fact we can help you. So the question now is, when we know the problem and the possible technology solution, how to go about it? So with years of experience, like I already said about our working for this focus segment, the first thing that we like to do is to educate about these new technologies and their impact. Then we set up workshops to ideate with your team members, collaborate, implement the technology, train your stakeholders and end users, and do a continuous integration of these emerging technologies to achieve the level of innovation that we all want. So that's how we work, and we have a huge experience, as I shared already.
So, as a part of our strategic consulting, we start with the identification of the areas of the opportunity where you can improve as an organization. Now, to assess those areas, to identify those areas, we conduct an organization-wide assessment where we sit with your teams to understand the various processes they do in their day-to-day life. We try to understand each process step by step. So on screen you see is an example of billing reconciliation process mapped step by step from receiving billing transactions from finance team to matching it up with the billed services in the system for each resident by the operations team. The goal is to understand what challenges do they face, like are they facing challenges with communication? Is there a highly manual process? Or what are the areas which are bringing in a tough time for them? So in this process, we identify this whole process is highly manual, time consuming, repetitive, and mundane. And uh, now, after we identified these areas of opportunity, we go and sit with our team of experts. We try to see that how this whole process can be optimized. We try to find the best technical solution to overcome these challenges being faced by your team. So, for this process, what you see on the screen is that we proposed AI-enabled automation. So the blue blocks are the representation that this whole process can be taken up by the automation, and from end to end, this whole process can be automated, thus reducing all that repetitive mundane work which your workforce was putting in before, making your organization much more efficient, such that your employees now are freed up from this repetitive data entry task, data mapping task, and now they can utilize their time in much more important tasks of resident handling and care. Also, we identify that there are areas, as Abhinav mentioned, that there are organizations which are still uh, behind the curve in using, and they still use a high amount of physical forms. And the very potential area where these handwritten forms are used is the admissions. That's where what we have seen mostly in our engagements. And there are a huge number of forms that are handwritten and filled. And then tracking of these applications, even getting financial verifications from the finance department, finance controllers, it takes a lot of time. and the resident experience takes a backseat. So, how we actually have worked with few of our provider clients is we try to digitize this whole process and information that's being captured in this handwritten form. So we created an application where these handwritten forms data can be pulled in by the automation bots into an application at a central location, which enables efficient record keeping for better data insights around the applicants. Not only this, this central application now solves the purpose of tracking the status of the application as well as for the sales team to review the information, update an information, or also for the finance team and finance controllers to take an action upon whether to accept this applicant or to reject. So that's how we actually work. We identify the problems which you have and then try to build the solution around it. There's no one solution we believe that fits in with all, and then, but the problems do exist across the industry. Moving ahead, there is another significant area of opportunity that we come across with senior care leadership is the unavailability of quick data insights. Now, data is available across the systems, across the departments. They're sitting on huge chunks of data, but this data is across these disparate systems which do not talk to each other. They're sitting in silos, and it's very difficult to get a 360-degree view of the whole organization, to get a sense of this data, to take proactive actions. This is where we are extensively working with the leadership to understand their data insights, requirements. What do they want to understand out of their data? What are the data insights requirements? And then we implement the best suited technology to build in rich in KPIs, analytical dashboards for your proactive decision making. So on screen, you see a dashboard being developed for the finance department. This gives you an insight into the accounts payable. Similarly, multiple dashboards we have developed for the different departments, for operations, for census, for the HR, etc. Also, there are cases where leadership wants to track the compliances, the medications, and the actual quality of care that is being delivered to the residents. And they want to understand what are the red flags in the system, identify them as soon as possible, and take a very quick action on it. This is where these dashboards again have been very fruitful to meet these requirements of the leadership for them to make a very quick decision and close that gap and close that red flag in their organization. Now, I want to talk about an evolving area of generative AI. If you have heard about ChatGPT, you would know what Gen AI is. But if not, then Gen AI is the new buzzword in the industry. It can create new content such as text, images, music, and just a command of yours. It's like having a smart assistant that can help generate ideas, write stories, suggest things based on your preferences, and much more. Now, in senior living care, generative AI can be incredibly useful. The future of generative AI would look something like generative AI giving movie recommendations based on resident preferences, suggesting recreational activities tailored to the best suited interest of the resident, offering companionship and emotional support through virtual assistants, and tackling the loneliness which residents usually face. thus overall improving the resident care and a very important focus area of the leadership to make residents feel like home, have better care of them, and analyze data to predict the future needs and recommend proactive interventions. Now, having said so, I want to highlight that NuAIg has been working on a couple of generative AI projects with a few of its clients to improve the resident care and overall operational efficiency of the community.
Okay, so these were few of the examples from the areas that I spoke about: digitization, data analytics, process automation, and Gen AI. Now on the screen, I would like to show few of the examples of what our clients has to say about us. CIO of Ingleside, CIO of UMC, and the technology leader of Parker. Our case studies are regularly published at Leading Edge. Here is one of that. These can be found on Leading Edge website and on NuAIg website as well. Uh, so like I said, we'll be uploading the recording of this webinar on our website. If you want to book a knowledge sharing workshop for other stakeholders at your organization, you can just message us at info@nuage.ai, or if you have something already in mind, we can go ahead and um, start talking about some pilot projects for your organization. Now I'll open the floor for Q&A. I already see a few of the questions coming in.
Okay, so thank you for your questions. I'll go and take them one by one. So the very first question we have is, how long does it typically takes for a solution to be developed and implemented? So as we mentioned that we understand the problems, but at the same time, we assess your initial stage at which you are, how you're functioning. So starting from the assessment of one of your process to developing and implementing it, this can vary from 6 weeks to 10 weeks, depending upon the complexity of the process that's there. Hope that answers. Yeah. Moving to the next. Can automation still be effective if APIs are not available for certain software? That's actually one of the best use case of automation that we are trying to implement for the senior living care. So there are many softwares which do not provide APIs, and these automation can run without with or without the access of the APIs. The very potential use cases of the point click care, which is an EMR being widely adopted by the care providers in the industry, and it doesn't provide the APIs. Having said so, we have built multiple dashboards, analytical dashboards, and multiple automations around processes in point click care without having the access to the APIs. How scalable, that's the next question. How scalable is the solution? Can it grow with our needs over time? So, yeah, the solution that we are building for your organization is something that is highly customizable. So with time, if you feel like there is new addition to the process, the new steps with respect to either the compliance or your scaling, or you're adding new softwares, or there are softwares that are even changing, like there are some operations inside these softwares that are changing. These solutions can be tweaked at any point in time can be customized at any point in time and without disrupting your current state of work. That's the beauty of the solutions that NuAIg has been extensively working and developing for the industry leaders. Okay. So moving to the next question we have, what kind of downtime are generally experienced during the transition to the new solution? So, as I mentioned that these softwares are the solutions, sorry, not the softwares that we are building for you, uh, do not interrupt with the current state of your operations. They do not disrupt, they do not make your employees change the bring like and accept a change. So they are generally like a new solution which can be adopted overnight. There is no downtime. So what only happens is that the efficiency increases. For example, what they were earlier doing it that was taking them 5 hours of their time a day, they can achieve it in within a few minutes. And the transition to the new system can just be as and when they are ready to change. The solution is just a layer and it doesn't disrupt their current functioning, their current operations in the organization. So I guess those were the questions that we have. So if you feel like you want to engage your leadership or your team with us, you can book our knowledge sharing session with us. We'll be happy to engage in a short discussion, trying to understand what your goals are and how NuAIg can help you achieve those. We can give a brief on what all our offerings are to your leadership, to your organization, and you can even drop us an email at info@nuage.ai. We have our website as www.nuage.ai. You can visit. You can look at the various use cases, the case studies, and the various webinars that we have done so far. With this, I would like to conclude today's webinar. Thanks everyone for joining in, and see you in the next webinar.
Thank you everyone for your time and attention today.